this video, I'm going to take you through the overview of the Python list. That is, we are going to go through the meaning of Python list, then move on to creating a list or inserting items into a list. Okay, so whether we have creating an empty list and then inserting data into a list, and then from there we move on to operation on list. Okay, so here we are going to deal with some of the methods of list. That is, we're going to use the append, the extend, insert, the remove, the pop, the sort, and then also the result. Okay, so moving on, I would like to give you some meaning of Python list or how Python list works. Okay, so for instance, let's say you want to create a variable that can store many data elements or data items, right? Let's say you want to have a variable that can have both an integer and then also a string. Okay, so with that you can use the Python list to hold those kinds of data items. Okay, so here we will say Python is a kind of data variable, or it's a kind of variable that holds one or more data items with different data types. So Python list is used to hold one or more data elements. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to store the names of people. Okay, so here I will say Emmanuel and then put them, let's say it is a string. If it is a string, it should be in a double quotation mark or single quotation mark, and then let's say Linda Faustina. Okay, so by doing this, I have assigned these data items or data elements to this name, okay, or this identity called names. So I'm gonna teach you how to print your Python list. Okay, so we already have our Python list over here. So in order to print our Python list, we will need the identity of the list or the name of the list. So with this list, it is called names. So we will just bring our print and then put in names. Okay, and then we build our program. So you could see from the console that the list has been printed over there. So we have the Emmanuel, Linda, and then Faustina. Okay, let's say you want to print only Emmanuel, or you want to print only Faustina, or even only Linda. Okay, there is one thing you need to do before you can print these names that I've mentioned. So in Python, every data item or every item within the list has a position or index. So here we can say this Emmanuel has a position or index, Linda also has an index, and then Faustina also has an index, and these indexes are unique. So the index of Emmanuel is unique, and then Linda is unique, and the Faustina is unique. Okay, with the index, it is represented by numbers. Okay, so if I am to get the index of Emmanuel, it means I'm going to get a number. And in Python, a list index starts from 0. So it starts counting from what? 0. So in this list, Emmanuel's position or index will be 0, followed by 1, 2, going. So the index of each data item represents that specific data item. So if I'm supposed to print Linda, then it means I should know the index of Linda. So we are going to print Linda in the console. Now we know the identity of the list, that is names. So if you are to get Linda, it means we are supposed to know the index of Linda. Let's start counting and know the index of Linda. So here the index of Emmanuel is 0, so the Linda's index will be 1 and Faustina's own will be 0. So now if I'm to print Linda, then it means I should start by printing names followed by an open and close square brackets, and then I'll put inside the index of that specific data item I want to print. So here I want to print Linda, so the index of Linda is what? 1. Okay, so now printing it, you could see that I have Linda over here. If I'm supposed to print Emmanuel, then it means the index of Emmanuel is supposed to be within the square bracket. So I'll bring 0 because the index of Emmanuel is what? 0. And if I print it, you could see that I have Emmanuel printed in the console, same as Faustina. So I'll just bring 2. Okay, so you could see that Faustina is also printed in the